So my name's Mike. For those who haven't been before, welcome to the class. Everything we do today, make sure it's appropriate for you. And nothing should hurt. There's a difference between a stretch and pain. It's your job to differentiate whether you're getting a good stretch or whether you're trying too hard. We don't want to overdo the postures. We don't want to underdo the postures. We want the middle way, the Buddha way. So everyone, please come up to standing. I'm going to start in a basic posture in yoga, the mountain pose, Tadasana. And we want a firm foundation with the feet. So if we get a good foundation with the feet, it's going to help us stand up tall and wide. So try to bring the awareness to your toe mounds, the inner and outer edges of the feet, and the center of the heels. And push down firmly through the center of the heels, the toe mounds, and the inner and outer edges. Most people who've got flat feet, they tend to collapse. You have to lift the inner edges. So the feet are active, we're not collapsing. And by engaging the feet, it helps engage the legs, and it helps us get a neutral pelvis. So we don't want to overdo the arch of the back, we don't want to flatten the back, somewhere in the middle. A neutral pelvis, a neutral lower back, whatever that is for you. So we're standing tall and wide, the shoulders up, backing down, feel your head just floating above the shoulders. And by pushing down firmly through the feet and evenly, particularly through the center of the heels, you should feel those actions happening more naturally. I want to stretch the arms up, spread the fingers and thumbs, get the energy moving physically, energetically, but soften the shoulder blades down the back. We're not squashing the neck. We'll widen the upper arms and bring the lower arms towards each other. It's the same action for our legs. The thighs are widening to release the pelvic floor, so we can stand up tall, lift out of the lower back. The shins are coming in. So shins in, thighs out, upper arms out, lower arms in. Stretch up with the in-breath. So you can gently stretch the shoulders by bringing the arms further behind you. Feel the energy moving up the front of the body when you breathe in, and gently moving down the back of the body when you breathe out. So trying to push the front of the thighs to the back of the thighs, engaging the thighs, grounding the thighs by pushing down firmly through the feet. Evenly through the center of the heels, the toe mounds, and the inner and outer edges. And then release. To help us get those actions, we're going to take 2 blocks. One up between the legs, as high as is comfortable, up by your perineum. And by squeezing that block, that engages your thighs for you. So if you can't engage the thighs properly, this engages your thighs, how to protect the knees. It also helps us find that neutral pelvis. So the tops of the groins, inner thighs, are moving back behind you. The block is sinking back behind you. It's not shooting in front of you, it's going behind you. And when you've got that neutral pelvis, put the block there. And then turn up overhead. So the fingers poking over the top of the block, lightly squeezing and stretch up and back. Like we just done, but the block there helping widen the thighs, widen the pelvic floor, releasing our back. The block helping widen the shoulder blades to release the neck, stretching up and back without forcing. Pushing the front of the thighs to the back of the thighs. So you've got like neutral pelvis, so we can lift out of the lower back. Deep in breaths and out breaths. Again, feel the energy moving up the front of the body when you breathe in. Down the back of the body when you breathe out. Just 2 more deep breaths there. And then release. Bring the block down. Take the block out. And put the blocks next to you. So we want those same actions in the downward facing dog. So when we're doing this one, it's exactly the same thing as when we're bent over in the downward facing dog. It's the same actions. The groin softening up and back, grounding the thighs, widening the upper arms, the lower arms in. So please come down on your hands and knees. You got the hands at the front of the mat, the fingers and thumbs spread wide. And the arms want to be sloping forward. They're not right underneath you, they're sloping forwards. And the fingers and thumbs spread wide, at least shoulder width apart. Got tight shoulders, take the hands wider. even turn them out a little bit. So flatten the hands, particularly those index finger mounts. Knees hip width apart. I'm going to tuck the toes under, push up with bent legs, and stay there with the legs bent. Really flatten the hands for the upper arms widening, the neck relaxing, the lower arms towards each other, and lifting away from the floor, not collapsing towards the floor. And I'm going to slowly stretch your legs as straight as is comfortable for you. If you've got really tight hamstrings, lower back, bend the knees a little bit, or even cycle the legs a few times to start with. So widen the upper arms. Relax as best you can as you stretch out the back and the legs. And now everyone, you're going to lift the heels as high as they go away from the floor. Keep lifting the hips up towards the ceiling. Widening the upper arms, stretching out the back still. But lifting the heels, the hips go higher. Now keep the hips lifting as you slowly stretch the heels back behind you towards the floor. It's a dual action. The sitting bones lifting as you stretch the heels back. So we're not just sinking the hips, we're trying to lift the hips as we slowly stretch the heels back behind you. Feel like you're widening the sitting bones, releasing the back, flattening the hands, widening the upper arms, releasing the neck. Deep inhalations and exhalations. And now I'm just going to bend the knees and walk the feet forward slowly to the front of the mat. As the feet hip width apart, pushing firmly and evenly. I'm going to lift the chest with the in-breath, bend from the hips with the out-breath. For those who can, you get your legs straight. If it's too tight, bend your knees. You can hold the elbows, you can hold the floor, you can hold your feet, whatever feels more comfortable for you. So don't overdo the stretch, don't underdo the stretch. Remember, we're stretching, not straining. And the breath is the key. Try and stay focused on your breathing in all the postures, all the stretches we do. Relax the neck, try and keep the neck, the shoulders relaxed, the face relaxed. Just 2 more deep breaths there. And then we can bend the knees and inhale, come slowly up to standing. And then we're going to bring the feet together so they're touching. Bend your knees and take your knees in a few circles one way, the widest circles you can manage with your knees. And then change, do the same thing the other way. So the widest circles you can with the knees. And then come back to the middle. Separate the feet. And we'll do the same thing with our hips and pelvis. So take your hips and pelvis in the widest circles we can. Full range of movement for you, whatever that is. And then change, just do that same thing the other way, the widest circles we can with the hips and pelvis. And then come back to the middle. I'm going to stand tall and wide in that mountain pose. So this time, I'm going to place the hands on the shoulders and keep them there. Bring the elbows to touch if you can. And when you breathe in, slowly lift up. When you breathe out, slowly lower down. So upward movement with the in-breath, downward movement with the out-breath. If you can, keep the breathing in through the nose and out through the nose. Get a more controlled breath through the nose. Stops the mouth drying up and warms the body up. For the mouth is more cooling, for the nose is more heating. Inhale through the nose, lift. Exhale through the nose, lower. And then change direction. You do that same thing opposite way. Lift with the in-breath and slowly lower back down with the out-breath. Just increasing the circulation in the shoulder area before we stretch them. Just one more time. Lift with the in-breath and lower with the out-breath. I'm going to take one arm across the body like so and use the hand to help take it across. Try not to twist. Keep the torso facing forward. Just stand tall with the in-breath and gently take that arm across with the out-breath. If you want a bit more force, we can bring the arm up so we've got a little bit more strength there to take it further across. But if it always works for you, don't force it. Stand tall with the in-breath, gently taking that arm across with the exhalation. Soften into it with the exhalation, relax with the exhalation. Maybe go a little bit deeper with the exhalation. Just 2 more deep breaths there. And then we can come out slowly and feel the energy, feel what's happened. And when you're ready, change sides. You take the other arm across. Use the hand to start, stand tall, and just gently take it across with the hand. And if you want to increase it, take the arm up inside the opposite elbow and use the arm to help you take it across. Just 2 more deep breaths here. And release. I'll do a couple more stretches for our shoulders, chest, shoulders, upper back. So I'm going to stand tall. You might need a strap for this one, you might not. We're going to turn the right arm in and bring the hand up behind the back as far as you're comfortable. I'm going to stretch the left arm up, turn it out, so you've got external rotation, and bring that hand down. So if you can't reach the hands comfortably, take that strap behind you and hold on to the strap. So we'll gently pull on the strap or your fingers, whatever you can reach comfortably. So gently pulling. One elbow lifting, one elbow sinking. And we're not disturbing the spine. The spine stays straight this way and this way. We're not leaning back, so we engage the core. We want the movement not to come from the lower back, but the movement to come from the upper back, chest, shoulder area. So deep in-breaths and out-breaths, stretching up and back without forcing. Still pushing the feet firmly. We've got that mountain pose alignment we did earlier. Just 2 more deep breaths there. And then release. Feel what's happened, feel the energy, and then change. Do the same thing on the opposite side. So turn the left arm in and up, internal rotation. The right arm out, external rotation. So this side might be easier, it might be harder, doesn't matter. So whatever you can, use the strap if you need to. Gently pulling. And the arm is not in front, it's behind. We're not strangling ourselves. So one elbow stretching up, one elbow stretching down. And the body stays straight in each plane. We've still got that neutral pelvis. Feet pushing firmly. Remember to stay focused on your breathing. Long, slow, smooth inhalations. Long, slow, smooth exhalations. Just 2 more. And release. Feel what's happening. So you can put the strap down. The next one I do is the eagle posture, but not the legs, just a bit for the arms and shoulders. So we're going to bend our arms at 90 degrees. And bring the right arm underneath the left arm. So the left elbow is on top of the right elbow. And hold on to whatever you can. If you can't reach, you're going to have to use a strap. You can hold on to something, the wrist, fingers, thumb. Yeah, we can all reach something. And then bring the elbows up at shoulder height and bring them in towards you. We're plugging the arms into the socket, that shallow shoulder joint. So keep the arms plugged in. And try to keep the shoulder, the left shoulder, the same level. So don't let it lift up. Try and keep the same level as the right shoulder. So level the shoulders as best you can. And when you breathe in, don't force it. We're going to slowly lift the arms up as high as you comfortably can with your in-breath. And then when you reach your limit, we're going to slowly lower them back down towards the floor. So feel that stretch in that left shoulder in particular. Slowly up and down with the breathing. Don't force it wherever you can manage. So inhale, we're lifting, and exhale, we're lowering. So one last time, up and down, inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. And come back to neutral and release the arms. Feel what's happened, the energy in that left shoulder. I'm going to change, do that same thing on the opposite side. So now we're going to bend the arms, bring the left arm under the right arm, bring the opposite shoulder height, drop the right shoulder down, try and get the same level as the left shoulder. Plug the arms in towards you. So you want to stabilize the shoulder joints, not destabilize them. And then slowly lift up, when we breathe in. And slowly lower back down. Just up and down with the breathing. So one last time, lift up with the in-breath and lower with the out-breath. And then we can release the arms and feel what's happened. What I'm going to do is interlock the fingers behind the back and push the hands down towards the floor. So we're taking the shoulder blades away from our head and neck. So releasing the back. If you've got very tight shoulders, you can use a strap and do the same thing. Because you want to lift the arms as high as is comfortable. If they don't lift very high, try it with a strap. If all is good, yeah, keep the fingers interlocked. Use a strap if you feel it's a bit too tight in the neck and shoulders. We're pushing hands back and lifting. And then from there, we're going to bend forwards from the hips. Let the head hang down, relax the neck. Lift the arms, keep the arms pushing up, the head hanging down. Do in-breaths and out-breaths. Just two more deep breaths there. And then we're going to inhale, come slowly up to standing. So all the blood's gone to our head, don't rush up out of it. Come up slowly to an upright position. Particularly if you've got low blood pressure or you tend to get lightheaded. And then from there, we're going to swing the arms up and down. One arm up, one arm down. And then with a bit of coordination, I'm going to swing the left arm backwards, the right arm forwards. So the arms are going in opposite directions to each other. So we shouldn't be swimming. I don't know what you're up to. Yeah, one arm forwards, one arm backwards. And then change, do the same thing the other way. One arm forwards, one arm backwards. The opposite way just going. But again, the arms should be going in opposite directions to each other without thinking. And then release. And bend the knees, keep the knees soft, interlock the fingers, and just go from side to side, neutralizing action. I should go at the back, Annabelle. Does he? And then release the arms, let the arms dangle down, just turning from side to side. No, Annabelle, I don't think we're supposed to go there. And then come back to the middle. And then we're going to try a slow sun salutation. Again, try and stay focused on your breathing. So come and stand at the front edge of the mat in your mountain pose. So you're pushing down firmly and evenly through both feet, particularly through the center of the heels, through the toe mounds and the inner and outer edges. And then we're going to inhale, take our arms wide and up. When you breathe out, you're going to bring the hands into Namaste position in front of your chest. When you breathe in, we'll stretch out and up. Really lift up out of the hips, a gentle back bend if you can. And when you breathe out, we're going to bend forward from the hips slowly. Lead with the chest. Bend the knees if you have to. If you can't reach the floor, bend your knees. And next time you breathe in, you're going to lift the chest and look up. When we breathe out, we want to step the right foot back. So we're coming into a lunge position with the knee over the ankle. We're trying to lift the back thigh. Push the hips towards the floor. Lift and open the chest. Don't collapse the chest. So come onto the fingertips. And breathe deeply. Hips pushing towards the floor. The chest and the thigh lifting away from the floor. And then when you breathe out, we're going to step that foot back into the plank position. So trying to get the body in a straight line using our core strength. So the thighs lifting, the chest lifting. Deep breaths. If you can't hold it comfortably, use the knees on the floor for support if you cannot hold it comfortably. And when we breathe out, we're going to bring the knees to the floor, the chest to the floor. When we breathe in, we're going to slide the chest forward, the legs backwards, roll the thighs out, gently tuck the tailbone, and slide the chest forward and up. If you've got tight back or back issues, use the forearms. The Sphinx posture is easier, but don't squash the neck. But you're sliding the chest forwards and up, lengthening and lifting, not squashing, whether you're there or in the cobra. So the neck is free, the elbows coming towards the body, not away from it. Make it easier for the shoulders. And then when you breathe out, push back to a child's pose. So the knees wide, the big toes touching, stretch the arms forwards and rest the forehead. And keep stretching the arms forward and lift the hips. Come on to your hands and knees. The knees hip width apart, and a downward dog. So spread the fingers and thumbs wide, at least hip shoulder width apart. The knees hip width apart. Tuck the toes, push up with bent legs, and keeping that extension of the spine, slowly stretch your legs straight, or as straight as is comfortable for you. So look down between your ankles. They should be level. They shouldn't be collapsing in. They're stretching back behind you towards the floor. It doesn't matter how close you are to the floor. Keep the hips lifting as you stretch the heels back towards the floor. And then without changing anything else, lift the right leg up in the air, keeping the hips level. For that left leg working more. Relax the neck, flatten the hands. And next time you breathe in, you're going to slowly step that foot forwards to the front of the mat and lightly, gracefully. So try and keep the knee over the ankle. We're not overextending the knee. The knee is over the ankle. The foot is right underneath you, the ankle. And then when you breathe out, we're going to step the other foot forwards. So the feet pushing firmly, evenly. When we breathe in, we'll come up slowly. You're going to take the arms out wide. Stretch out and up. When we breathe out, we're going to bring the hands into Namaste and release. We're going to do the same thing again, but this time we're going to step the left leg back first. I'm going to try the side plank on each side. If you're struggling in the side plank with wrist issues, use the forearm or just stay in a plank, or you can even use the knees on the floor for support. So inhale, take your arms wide and up. And when you breathe out, just bring the hands to namaste in front of your chest. Breathe in, stretch out and up. And with the exhalation, we're bending forward slowly from the hips. Breathe in and look up. And when you breathe out, step the left foot back this time into that lunge. We'll take a few breaths there. Lift the thigh, sink the hips. Again, the knee is right over the ankle. The back thigh lifting. Step on the fingertips. So keep the chest lifted and open. And then when we breathe out, we're going to step that foot back into the plank position. So the body is in a straight line using our core. So the side plank, so you can bring the right hand in the middle of the mat, come onto the right side of the body. If you haven't got the balance, separate the feet. If you have, stack the feet. Lift the hips, tuck the tailbone. If you can, stretch up and look up. So hips shouldn't be sinking, they're lifting. If you can't lift, use the leg or one knee on the floor. 2 more breaths there. And then we're going to come to the full plank position. When you're ready, change sides. Bring the left hand underneath. Come to the left side of the body. Lift the hips, tuck the tailbone, and stretch up to the side plank on that side. So try not to stick the bum out. Keep the tailbone tucking, hips lifting. Breathe. Good. And then come back to the full plank position. And when we breathe out, knees onto the floor, chest onto the floor. We breathe in, the chest sliding forward and up, the legs back and out. The cobra or the sphinx, feel what works best for you. The pubic bone stays on the floor in the cobra and the sphinx. The shoulders away from our neck. And we breathe out, we're going to push back slowly to that child's pose position. Just relax in and soften the spine for a couple of deep breaths. And we stretch the arms forward, lift the hips, tuck the toes under, it's downward dog time. Push up with bent legs, and then slowly stretch your legs straight or as straight as they go. So ideally, we're going to get the arms straight and the legs straight. But whatever works for you, if you can't, for whatever reason, keep them a little bit bent. So pushing the hips up and back, pushing the front of the thighs to the back of the thighs, the groin softening up and back as we stretch the heels back behind us towards the floor with parallel feet. And make sure the neck and the shoulders stay relaxed. Deep breaths. And then we're going to lift the left leg up, stretch it out and up behind us for that right leg working more. And we'll look up to the front of the mat, and we breathe in, we slowly step that foot forward to the front of the mat, to a lunge. Making sure the shin is vertical, we're not overextending. We breathe out, step the other foot forwards. Feet push firmly and evenly. And then we're going to come up slowly with an in-breath, the arms out wide, stretch out and up. And we breathe out, bring the hands to namaste and release. So we're going to do one more round. That was one full round. We're going to do one more round, a bit quicker this time. It makes it easier, there's less strength involved, more of a flowing action. For those who can, this time I'm going to do chaturanga, the lower press up, and upward dog. Otherwise, do the cobra where the pubis bone stays on the floor. So from the front of the mat, I'll talk you through it. Breathe in and stretch out and up. And breathe out, bring the hands to namaste. Now inhale, the arms wide and up. And with the exhalation, we're bending forwards from the hips. Breathe in and look up. And when we breathe out, step the right foot back into a lunge. Take a deep in-breath there. And with out breath, step that foot back into the plank position. So establish the plank, and this time, if you've got the strength, when you breathe out, we're going to bend the elbows to chaturanga. Otherwise, take the knees onto the floor and maybe the chest. Breathe in to upward facing dog where everything lifts. So upward dog, the pelvis lifts. We're lifting the chest, lifting the thighs, roll the upper arms out. And then we breathe out, we're going to roll the toes, push up and back to downward facing dog. Relax the neck, widen the fingers, flatten the hands. This time, lift the right leg up, so you can bend the leg and roll that hip and shoulder away from the floor, keeping the neck relaxed, the hands flat. Deep in breaths and out breaths. Then we breathe in, we're going to step that foot forward slowly to the front of the mat. To a lunge. And we breathe out, we're going to step the other foot forward. Feet push firmly, evenly. And we're going to breathe in, take the arms wide, stretch out, hand up. And breathe out, hands, namaste. Release. So one last time. So from the front of the mat, we try and finish. Breathe in and take the arms wide and up. Breathe out, bring the hands to namaste. Breathe in, stretch out and up, lifting out the hips. Breathe out, bending forward from the hips. Breathe in and look up. On the out breath, step the left foot back into a lunge. And next time you breathe out, we're going to step that foot back to the plank position. With your next exhalation, it's either chaturanga or knees, chest, chin to floor. Breathe in to upward facing dog or cobra. And breathe out to downward facing dog. Widening, lengthening, breathing deeply. And we lift our left leg up so we can bend the leg and roll that hip and shoulder away from the floor. The neck is relaxed, the hands are flat. And next time you breathe in, we're going to slowly step that foot forward to a lunge. And we breathe out, we step the other foot forwards. We're going to stay here in that standing forward bend. So lift the chest when you breathe in, fold from the hips when you breathe out. Deep in breaths and out breaths. Relax the neck, the shoulders, bend the knees if you have to. And then we can bend the knees and inhale, come slowly up to standing. Just out and up. And we out breath, bring the hands and namaste. And release. I'm going to have a sit down. If you want a drink, now is a good time to have a drink. Somebody? You need a hand, Ellen? All right. So we're going to do a neutralizing twist before we move on. We're going to sit with your legs out straight on your sitting bones. I'm going to bend the right leg and step the foot outside the left. If that's too tight for anybody, stay inside, it's easier. Otherwise, step the foot outside that. Push the heel into the mat to help lift out of the lower back, the foot into the mat to lift the upper back. So we're sitting up tall, soften the shoulder blades away from our head. And keeping this extension, that's our in-breath. We're going to twist with the out-breath to face that side. So feel like you're sitting up tall when you breathe in. And by wrapping the left arm around the right leg, we're just twisting like so. The back hand on the floor behind. If you feel you're collapsing, try it with a block. Soften the shoulder blades away from our head. And twist with the upper body, the torso, not with the head and neck. We're gently looking over the shoulder, but twisting with the upper body and letting the head follow. Not letting the upper body follow the head and neck. We're letting the head and neck follow the upper body, the torso. So a few more deep breaths there. Sit up tall with the in-breath. Relax the shoulders. Twist with the out-breath. Go deeper by relaxing and softening, not by trying to force the body open. And then we can unwind, come back to the middle. Uncross the legs, and when you're ready, change sides. So step the left foot, bend the left leg, step it outside, heel pushing, foot pushing. First we get the extension, and then we twist without forcing. Soften the shoulder blades away from our head, looking over the shoulder in the direction of the twist. So again, deep breath, deep, comfortable breath. Look, sat up straight, we're not collapsing, we're not leaning forwards or backwards or sideways. Two more deep breaths here. And then we can unwind, come out slowly, back to the middle. And when you're ready, we want to come over onto our hands and knees. Just bring some movement to the spine. We're going to round up and down into the cat-cow posture. If you've got sensitive knees, either take more mat underneath the knees or cushions underneath the knees. If your knees are fine, hip width apart on the mat. So the wrists shoulder width apart, they stay under the shoulders. The knees hip width apart, they stay under the hips. When you breathe in, lift the tailbone, the coccyx, the belly sinks down, and we look up. When we breathe out, we tuck the tailbone and suck the navel up to the spine, the cat stretch, round the spine up the cat with the out breath. You keep going at your own pace, a slow breath, a slow movement to match the breath. Up and down slowly with the breathe in. So the hips shouldn't be moving forwards or backwards, or the shoulders. So the shoulders stay over the wrists, the hips stay over the knees, and we just round up and down. Make some movement to the spine, releasing the disc, the vertebra, stretching out the big muscles of the chest, the back, releasing action. Just one more time in each direction. Inhale, the belly sinks towards the floor. And exhale, the belly lifts away from the floor. And from there, we're going to move the hands forwards. One hand length, so where the fingertips were, bring the wrists to those positions. Tuck the toes, push up with bent legs, and then slowly get your legs straight, or as straight as you can. The neck is relaxed, the hands are flat. So try to lose those index finger mounds. We want to work the outer edges of the arms and the inner edges. The finger mounds lift, we lose the work in the inner arms. So flatten the hands as best you can, push the hips up and back, relax the neck. 2 more deep breaths there. Groin softening up and back. And then you're going to bend the knees and walk the feet forward slowly to the front of the mat. I'm going to stay there in that standing forward bend. If you can hold the big toes comfortably, hold the big toes and get the legs straight that way. Relax the neck and shoulders. If you can't hold comfortably, hold the elbows. It's easier. So widen the sitting bones, the groin soften out and back. Deep in breaths and out breaths. Try to keep softness in the neck, shoulders, facial area. And then we're going to bend the knees and inhale, come up slowly to standing upright position. I'm going to do one balancing posture. We're going to do the eagle posture. We've already done a bit for the arms, now I'm going to do the bit for the legs. So when we do the eagle posture, you need internal rotation of the thigh to try and wrap the leg all the way around. If it doesn't go all the way around, you take it to the side, or you can even use a block on whatever height you need, and we can do it that way if we struggle getting the leg around. So you're going to stand with your feet hip width apart. You see, hip width apart with the feet. Bend the knees. Get the right thigh and roll it in. Internal rotation that right thigh, so it's easier to wrap that leg around. So if you can, it comes all the way to the back. If it doesn't, to the side, or try it with a block. And when you're happy with that, we're going to bend the arms at 90. Bring the right arm under the left arm, lift the elbows, plug them in towards you, and I'm going to sit down as low as is comfortable. As you look at a stationary point in front of you to help with the balance, with the concentration. So you can sit a bit lower to stretch out the hips, get the elbows lifted and plugged in. 2 more deep breaths, looking at that stationary point. Or not. And then unwind the arms, unwind the legs. Feel what's happened, feel the energy. We're stretching out the shoulders and the hips, tight areas for most people. So change sides, feet hip width apart, bend the knees. Lift the left leg up, internally rotate that left thigh, try and get that left leg all the way round if you can, whatever works for you. Bend the arms 90 degrees. Left arm goes under the right arm. Lift the elbows, bring them towards you, and again, sit down as low as is comfortable for you. Keep the elbows lifted and plugged in. Look at that stationary point. Feel that stretch in the hip, in the shoulders, widening the shoulder blades. Two more deep breaths. And then we can release the arms and release the legs. All right, what we're going to do is turn the mats to face this way. They're going to face the same direction as mine. Yeah? So turn your mat through 90 degrees and spread out as best you can. I'm going to take 2 blocks at the front edge of your mat, shoulder width apart, and take your feet as wide as is comfortable for you. So when we take the feet out wide, it's the same as a mountain pose. We want the feet to push firmly, evenly. When we take the feet out wide, we tend to lose the outer edges. We tend to collapse on the inner edges of the feet. So ground down firmly and evenly through the outer and inner edges of the feet, just like in the mountain pose. The inner ankles are lifting away from the floor. They're not collapsing towards the floor. And the feet are slightly turned in. They're not turning out to help release the groins and the back. And then we're going to lift up out the hips when we breathe in, bend forward from the hips when we breathe out. Just bring the hands down onto those blocks. So the wrists are right under the shoulders. So hands shoulder width apart. So it's like you're lifting the chest forwards towards me, towards the front. And the hips are not collapsing forward. The hips stay right over our ankles. And then keeping the hips in that position, we're going to walk the blocks forwards. It's fine. Don't lift the hips forward or roll them forward. Keep the hips pushing back. Stretch the blocks forward with the hands on top of the block. So we feel that stretch in the shoulders and in the legs and hips. Lengthening the spine. So as far as it's comfortable for you, but the hips, good, haven't collapsed forwards. So hips stay over our ankles. Deep in breaths and out breaths. Yeah, so the hips are over our ankles still. And then if your back is happy with it and your hamstrings, take the hands off of the blocks onto the floor. If that feels too tight for anybody, take the blocks and place the hands on blocks. If your hamstrings and back aren't happy with it. And then for those who can, got good flexibility, we can bend the elbows and take the head closer to the floor. So strong hands, strong feet, the inner ankles lifted. Relax the neck, the shoulders. And the legs again should stay vertical. Don't start collapsing forward. It doesn't matter how far forward you bend. Keep the hips over our ankles. So we're not cheating and falling forward yet. The groin softening up and back. Deep in breaths and out breaths. Slow, smooth inhalations. Slow, smooth exhalations. 2 more deep breaths there. And then we can bring the arms straight. I'm going to heel toe the feet closer. Heels, toes, heels, toes, heels, toes, heels, toes. And then we're going to come slowly up to standing. Gracefully. And I'm going to bring the feet a little bit wider than our hips. Turn the feet out 45 degrees. Bring the hands, namaste position. And if you can come all the way down to this position, Malasana, the garland pose, do so. If you feel that's a bit tight, you can try sitting on blocks to take the effort out of it. Or you don't come down so low, you come up here. And if your heels are lifting, if the heels don't sit comfortably on the floor, take cushions or blocks underneath them. Yeah, if you sit on a block, yeah, it's easier. It just takes the effort out of it. So we're gently, if your arms are comfortably inside the leg, we're gently pushing the legs out wide. Good for the lower back, the groins, the ankles, the knees. few more deep breaths there. And then release and take the blocks out, using block. I'm going to sit down. I'm going to lay down on your side like so. If you prefer, we can have a cushion underneath the head and do it that way, or we can just have the hand there. It doesn't matter which side, we're going to do both sides, just facing, when we're facing this direction on whatever side works for you. So try and keep the hips on top of each other. We're not going to let the hips sink backward. The hips are stacked on top of each other. And then we want to slowly engage the top leg, slowly lift the leg up when you breathe in. But don't turn the leg in its socket, keep the toes pointing towards me. And then slowly lower back down when you breathe out. If you feel a bit unsteady, bend the bottom leg for support. It's easier, otherwise it's straight. Inhale, slowly lift. And exhale, slowly lower. Lifting up with our inhalation and down with the exhalation. So we're using the abductor muscles to lift the leg, the adductors to lower. So we do it slowly. So we're working both sides of the hip. Right, next time you lift up, we're going to stay there and turn the leg in its socket. If you can reach the toe comfortably, the big toe, reach it. If not, take your strap, if you've got one, and place the strap around your foot. And do it that way. So if you can't reach comfortably, place the strap around the foot. You reach comfortably, then great. So we're stretching up through that leg when we breathe in and trying to bring, without forcing, so we're stretching up through the calf muscle with our inhalation and then trying to bring the leg closer towards you with the exhalation. And the hips should still be stacked on top of each other. No force, no strain. You can't lasso the strap. Deep inhalations and exhalations. Lift the leg up and I'll do it for you. Yeah. Just 2 more deep breaths there. And then I'm going to bend the knee and wrap the arm around it and just hug that knee in towards the armpit. So feel that stretch in the hip. Yeah. So we're hugging the knee in towards the armpit. And then we're going to release. I'm going to bend the legs. We're going to do what we call clamshell, lift the knee up and down. So you want to align the soles of the feet, the hips and the shoulders. Keep the top hip on top of the bottom hip. We're not rolling it backwards. Hold the top hip, lift the legs slowly up when you breathe in. And then slowly lower back down when you breathe out. So inhale, we're lifting. Exhale. So the feet stay on top of each other, yeah? The feet are aligned as we slowly lift up when we breathe in and slowly lower down when we breathe out. Try and get the feet, the hips, the shoulders in a straight line with the back of the mat. And keep working with the breathe in. Lift with the in breath, lower with the out breath. So next time you lift up, stay there and just keep lifting. Keep the hips stacked on top of each other. Top hip stacked on top of the bottom hip. Lift the leg without forcing. Lift, breathe, breathe, lift. 2 more deep breaths. and then release. And do the same thing on the opposite side. So come over and lay on the opposite side. And the first thing I'll do is lift that leg up and down. So get comfortable on the opposite side, facing this way still. So facing the front, and just change legs. So make sure you are doing the opposite leg, not the same leg. So facing the front, yeah. And then lift that leg slowly up when you breathe in, slowly down your back. But don't turn the leg in its socket. Keep the toes pointing towards me as we slowly lift up and down. So inhale, we lift, and exhale, we lower. So you want to do it there, yeah. So you want the thighs to do the work, not the hips. Sit slowly with the breathe in. Inhale, lift in, exhale, lower in. This time come up and stay there. Now you can turn the leg in its socket. If you can reach over the foot or the big toe, do so. If not, take a strap and hold the strap. So stretch through that leg when you breathe in and try and bring it closer towards you without forcing when you breathe out. So again, we're still working with the breathe in, deep inhalations, exhalations. Try and keep the hips stacked on top of each other. So we're not letting the top hip fall backwards. Yeah. Last 2 deep breaths in that position. And then we're going to bend the leg and hug that knee in towards the armpit. A few more deep breaths. And then release one of those clamshells. So bend the legs, try and get the soles of the feet, the hips, the shoulders in line. Again, the top hip is directly on top of the bottom hip. As we lift the leg up when we breathe in and lower it down slowly when we breathe out. So up and down with the breathing. Try not to let the hips come out of alignment. There, and then down. Up when we breathe in, slowly down when we breathe out. Yeah. So a slow, controlled movement up and down with the breathing. So try and keep the hips out there. I do it. So don't let the top hip roll back, otherwise we lose the stretch. Right, and this time lift up and stay there. And breathe. A couple more deep breaths there. And release. And then we'll lay down on our backs. I'm going to try the bridge posture, the Setu Bandha posture, slowly up and down. So I'm going to bend the legs, and don't have the heels touching the hips. They're a little bit away, about 1 hand length away. If you turn the face this way, Helen, it's easier. Helen? Turn the face this way, it's easier to see what's happening. Yeah. So the heels not right up against the hips, a little bit away. And at least hip width apart. Try and keep the knees in line with the hips, the feet parallel. I'm going to push the hands into the mat and the feet. And then slowly lift up when we breathe in. And then slowly lower back down when we breathe out. So bring some movement to the spine, therapy for the back. Lift in with the in-breath, lower in with the out-breath. That's it. Feet stay parallel, the thighs stay parallel. No cushion for the head, otherwise you overstretch it. Right, next time you do it, lift the arms as well. So inhale, lift the hips and the arms at the same time. The arms come overhead onto the floor behind you. And exhale, slowly lower back down. So lifting the hips and the arms with the breathing. So the knees should be right over our ankles. The shins should be vertical. We're not overextending the knees. So one last time, lift with the in-breath and lower with the out-breath. So come down and we should have 2 blocks close to us. We're going to take all the effort out of that posture by placing the blocks underneath our sacrum. You can have 1 block on that height, 2 blocks that high. If it's too much, try it on that height. We want to be releasing the lower back. So if it feels too tight in the lower back, take the blocks lower. And they're not under the lower back, they're underneath our sacrum, underneath the hips. So we lift up into that same position we just in, that bridge posture, the Setu Bandha, construction of a bridge. I'm going to place the blocks underneath our hips and just let the blocks do the work. So the hips are just sinking onto those blocks. So keep the chest lifted and open. The feet, well, the legs can relax. So the legs don't have to do anything, but don't collapse them. Yeah, so they're lightly engaged. So the feet are on the mat. I'm not collapsing them or lifting them. Thighs parallel, feet parallel, chest lifted and open. As the blocks take all the effort out of it. So we still get the benefits. Very good for our breathing, this one, because the chest is lifted and open. Slow, smooth inhalations, slow, smooth exhalations. That's it. The blocks are right underneath our hips. Lift up, lift, and now come back down. Yeah, that's it. So right underneath. Don't view pin, lift, and there. That's it. So make sure they're clear of the lower back, the blocks. They're right underneath the hips or the buttocks. So if you can hold on to the backs of the blocks, hold the back of the blocks. Keep the chest lifted and open. Because what we're going to do now is lift our right leg up in the air and get it straight, or as straight as you can. And I'm going to lower it down towards the floor and breathe out, our exhalation. Not all the way, just a horizontal position, and then lift it slowly back up as far as is comfortable with the inhalation. We'll do that a few times, up and down. Lifting with the in-breath, lowering with the out-breath. Well, this time we lift up and stay there. So keep the leg active. You want to feel it in the down leg as well, the bent left leg. Push the foot into the mat. Stretch up through that right leg when you breathe in. And see how close you can bring it towards you without forcing when you breathe out. So keep that foot firmly on the floor, the left foot. Feel it in that left thigh. As you keep the leg as straight as it's comfortable and bring it towards you. Just 2 more deep breaths. And then we can bend the leg and bring the foot down onto the floor. Make sure you're still happy on those blocks, we're still stable. And then change, lift the left leg up, get it straight, so as straight as is comfortable. And then I'm going to lower it down towards the floor, not all the way, just to that horizontal position, so it's in line with the opposite thigh. And then lift up with the in-breath. So keep the leg active the whole time, it's engaged, engaging the thigh, the quadriceps. So stretching that leg away from you the whole time as you slowly lift up and down. So this time I'm going to lift up and stay there. So again, keep that right foot firmly pushing into the mat. Stretch up through that left leg when you breathe in and see how close you can bring it towards you when you breathe out. Two more deep breaths there. And then we can bend the leg, bring that foot flat onto the floor. Right, we try one last stretch on these blocks. Make sure your lower back's happy with it. We're going to stretch the arms overhead behind you onto the floor. Bring the right leg out straight onto the mat in front of you. If that feels okay, do the same with the left. If it feels too tight, you can bend the legs, or we can take the blocks onto a lower level so it's less of a stretch. We want to feel the stretch in the belly area and the hip flexors, the tops of the hips and the belly. You don't want to feel it in the lower back. So if it feels too tight, take the blocks lower or bend your knees for the last few breaths. And then we can bend the knees, bring the arms back alongside the hips. We want to come out of it, so push the feet firmly into the mat. Lift the hips higher than those blocks and take the blocks out of the way as we slowly lower the hips to the floor. And when the hips do touch the floor, we're going to let the knees fall away from each other, bring the soles of the feet together, that Baddha Konasana position. Going to make sure you've got a neutral pelvis. As we stretch the arms overhead, or that doesn't work for you, keep them beside you. Arms overhead if your shoulders are happy with it, and the neck. So a few deep breaths there. And then we're going to bring the knees together. Bring the arms out at shoulder height beside the body, so we're in a T position. Separate the feet about as wide as the mat. We're going to do some knee drops or windscreen wiper actions with our legs. So the feet are on the floor, they're a little bit wider than the hips, and we're just letting the knees fall slowly to each side with our breathing. So the head is turning one side, the knees are turning the opposite side. And next time your knees fall over to the right hand side, stay there. If you can, if your knee's happy with it, lift the right foot onto the left thigh and help it towards the floor. And then stretch the left arm up overhead behind you. Just feeling that stretch in the shoulder, the hips, the side ribs. Yeah. If your knee is okay with it. Yeah, and just try and stay focused on the breathing, deep inhalations, exhalations. And then keep the legs as they are, but come back to the middle. So I'm going to come back to the center with the right ankle crossed outside the left thigh. We'll do the figure 4 stretch, which means you're going to place the hands behind the thigh, or if you can reach comfortably, the shin. Keep the top foot flexed towards you, the right foot to protect that knee. Gently pull on the shin or the thigh. If your head is lifting, take a cushion underneath the head for support. Make sure the neck and the shoulders and the face stay relaxed. As we gently pull that knee towards the armpit, feeling the stretch in the right hip. Deep in breaths and out breaths. For the last few breaths, if you want to increase it, we can lift the shoulders. Try and bring the legs and the upper body closer together. But don't squash the neck. Relax the neck as you do so. Just feeling that deeper stretch in the right hip by bringing the upper body and the legs closer. Again, make sure the neck is still relaxed. And then we'll release the hands, keep the legs as they are. Before we do the opposite side, we're going to do a twist. So the right ankle is still outside the left thigh. We're going to move the hips over to the right hand side. If you can, you tuck the right foot behind the calf, that eagle twist, otherwise to the side. And just let the legs fall across to that side. And gently pull the leg across with the hand. You can make it more relaxing by having the arms at shoulder height, or if you like, we can gently pull it out. So the way, Suzanne, hips this way, legs that way. Hips this way, legs that way. This is our hips. They go that way, and the legs go that way. Yeah, and then we're there. And again, when we twist, it's harder to breathe. The deepest breathing we can manage in that twisted position. Other way. Hips go that way, and the legs go that way. And the shoulder stays on the floor if we can. Just 2 more deep breaths there. And then you can unwind, come back to the middle. Uncross the legs, separate the feet. The feet about as wide as the mouth. We'll go back to that windscreen wiper action with our knees. So the arms at shoulder height, the feet as wide as the mat, a bit wider than your hips, and just let the knees fall across to each side with the breathing. Head rolling one way, the knees going the opposite way. With our exhalations, the knees go to one side with the out breath, to the middle with the in breath, to the opposite side with the out breath. And next time they go over to the left hand side, stay there. Lift the left foot onto the right thigh, the right arm stretching up overhead. So lengthening into that top arm onto the floor behind you, if you can. So the legs fell across to the left, and the left foot is helping the right thigh to the floor. Oh, you can do. So that is there. Did you do that way last time? And make sure you're doing the opposite side from last time. So the arms stretching up overhead. So we're feeling that stretch. Does that go all the way up overhead? Yeah. Stretching up there. Feel that stretch in the ribs, the outer hip. Hey, fella. So just 2 more deep breaths in that position. And then slowly come up to the middle for that figure 4 stretch. So come up, so your left ankle is outside the right thigh. Going to hold on to either the back of the right thigh or the right shin. And gently pull that knee towards the shoulder, not towards the center of the chest. If the head is lifting, use a cushion for the head. Deep in breaths and out breaths. So feeling that stretch in the left hip by pushing one leg away from you and one leg towards you. So the right leg is coming towards you and the left leg is coming away from you. And for the last few breaths, if you want to increase that stretch, you can lift the shoulders, bring the legs and the upper body closer, but keep the neck relaxed as you do so. Slow, smooth inhalations, slow, smooth exhalations. And then release the hands, keep the legs as they are for that twist. So the right foot on the floor, move your hips over to the left hand side. Just get the bum and hips to the left. If you can, wrap that foot underneath the eagle twist, otherwise there, and let the legs fall over to the right. Try and keep the left shoulder on the floor as we gently take the legs across without lifting the shoulder, without forcing. And again, the deepest breathing you can manage in that twisted position. Other way, Chris. Hips go this way, the legs go that way. Yeah. And then we're going to unwind, come out slowly, back to the middle, uncross the legs, bring the legs out straight, and hopefully you've got a strap next to you still, close by. If you feel you need a cushion for these, the leg stretches that we finished with, you can put a cushion underneath your head, otherwise the head is on the mat. We're going to start with the right leg. Get it bent and the strap around the middle of your foot. And don't hold the strap too high, hold the strap quite low so the neck, the shoulders can relax. The down leg stays active. The left leg is stretching along the mat with the heel pushing into the mat, the thigh pushing into the mat. So the shoulders on the floor, the head on the floor, or maybe a cushion. So get that leg as straight as you can. Pull down and back on that strap. Feel like you're putting that leg into its socket, into the hip joint, and then back towards you. So deep in breaths and out breaths. Make sure the chest is still open. We're not collapsing the chest. The head, neck, and face stay relaxed. So we want full body awareness and breath awareness. Long full inhalations, long full exhalations. So if you can, both legs are straight. Doesn't matter how high you lift the leg, don't force it. Remember, we don't want to underdo or overdo these stretches. We'll do a couple of variations for the inner thigh groin area and the outer thigh hip area. So keep the leg where it is and the strap. We're going to hold the strap now with just your right hand and keep the left arm at shoulder height. Or if you prefer, you can keep the hand on the hip. We don't want to disturb our left hip. So we're going to take the leg now as far as it's comfortable over to your right hand side. So we feel that stretch in the adductors, that groin area. Bring the elbow on the floor for support. Stretch through the leg with the in-breath and see how far we can bring it up towards you with the out-breath. But don't lean into it. Try and keep the body upright, the torso straight. Stretch across and up without disturbing that left thigh, left hip. So a few deep breaths there. Remember, no force, no strain. Focus on the breathing. Relax to go deeper. Don't try harder. But now we're going to take that leg slowly up to the middle with the in-breath. Keep the strap where it is. We're going to change hands. So now the left hand holds the strap, the right arm shoulder height. And to start with, keep the left leg active. Keep the toes pointing up to the ceiling. And we can lift the hip, the right hip, take the leg as far as you can across without collapsing that leg. So keep the toes pointing up to the ceiling, which is up here. So the hip can lift, but the leg stays active to start with. That's it. So feel like your toes, you cannot see the toes, feel like the toes are pointing up to the ceiling. And across and up towards you, keeping the hip rolling towards the front, so we're not squashing the lower back, we're releasing the lower back. It's an extension, not compression. And then next time you breathe out, we're going to roll that left foot all the way over onto the floor, which means you can probably take the leg further across, maybe further up towards you without forcing. Deep inhalations and exhalations. If you've got the flexibility, you can hold on to the foot and do the same thing. If we can't hold the foot comfortably, hold the strap. So again, it doesn't matter where we are in the postures, it's not what we can do, it's how we do it with awareness. No force, no strain, body awareness, breath awareness in all the postures. The foot goes comfy to the floor, take it to the floor. It doesn't use a block. Just 2 more deep breaths there. And then we can come out slowly. So bend the leg, come out slowly, and just hug that knee into the chest. Keep the sacrum on the floor, the hip on the floor, so we don't lose the stretch in the psoas muscle. We get the stretch in the hip and the lower back. Just hugging that knee into the chest. And then release. Feel what's happened, feel the energy in that right leg and the right hip. And we'll do the same thing, we finish with that same little sequence for our left leg. So now we're going to bring the left leg up, the strap around the middle of the foot. Again, hold the strap quite low. Have the leg bent to start with. Engage the right leg, push the heel into the mat, the thigh into the mat. Pull down and back on that strap as you get the leg straight or as straight as is comfortable. So put that leg into its socket, into the thigh bone, the femur bone, into the hip joint, and then pulling back towards you. Keep the chest open, the head, neck, and face relaxed. Deep in breaths and out breaths. Both legs are engaged, the rest of the body open but relaxed. Slow, smooth inhalations, slow, smooth exhalations. So 2 more deep breaths there before we do those variations out to each side. So keep the strap where it is, just hold the strap with the left hand, the right arm at shoulder height, or prefer the right hand on the right hip, and take the leg across as far as is comfortable. Stretching across and up towards you without forcing and without disturbing that hip. So feel like somebody is sat on your hip, or I will. So sitting the thigh and the hip into the floor, stretching across and up towards you without forcing. Deep inhalations and exhalations. And up. Again, focus on the breathing. Use the breathing. No force, no strain. Make sure you're not underdoing or overdoing these postures, these stretches. Right, 2 more deep breaths there. And then come slowly up to the middle. Change hands. So now the right hand is going to hold the strap. The left arm at shoulder height. Try and keep that shoulder on the floor. To start with, keep the right toes pointing up to the ceiling as we lift the hip and take the leg across as far as you can without collapsing that right leg. So the heel is still pushing into the floor as we take the leg across and up towards you. Look across to the left shoulder, try and keep it on the floor. Deep in breaths and out breaths. We'll start with the foot is pointing up to the ceiling, and then we take it across. Yeah. Slow, smooth inhalations, slow, smooth exhalations. And now with your next out breath, we can roll that foot, the right foot, all the way onto the floor now. So you should be able to take the leg further over, further up towards you without forcing. If it goes all the way to the floor comfortably, take it to the floor. So when the foot is supported, the muscles can soften. If it doesn't go to the floor comfortably, try it with a block. But the hip is still rolling away from you. Remember, we got extension there, not compression. So now we can roll that foot over. Last few deep breaths. Again, if you can hold the foot comfortably, hold on to the foot. If not, stay with the strap. And relax the face. And then bend the knee, come out slowly. Just hug that knee into the chest without lifting the sacrum. So again, try and keep the hips on the floor as we hug that knee into the chest. And then we're going to bend the right leg as well. Take the knees a little bit wider than the hips. Right wide with the sacrum still on the floor. So gently pull the legs out wide and towards you. I'm going to reach up onto our big toes with the middle finger, thumb and index finger. If you can bring the legs straight comfortably with the sacrum on the floor, do so, holding the toes or the feet. If not, hold the outer or inner thigh. So get the legs straight and let them fall out to a comfortable V position whilst holding the big toes or the feet. If you can, if not, hold the thighs, inner or outer. So get the legs straight. The legs want to be straight, not bent. Engage the thighs. And then we can bring the legs together, bend the knees. And we're going to move across the sacrum from side to side. If you can hold the feet comfortably, you can do the full happy baby posture. If not, just hold the shins and do the easier version. So the shins, unless you can hold the feet comfortably, and just roll from side to side across the sacrum. And then come back to the middle, place the hands on top of your knees and take the knees in wide, slow circles one way. It's a massage in action for the hips. And then change, just reverse that rotation, wide, slow circles the other way. And then our final relaxation for the last few minutes, the corpse posture, Shavasana. Going to work yourself now into the most comfortable position you can find. So we're all different, all unique. Feel what works for you. Generally the legs a little bit wider than the hips. The legs completely relaxed. Neutral pelvis. Make sure you're not overarching or flattening the lower back. Arms out beside the body and they're between 10 and 90 degrees. With the palms facing up if it's comfortable. So the chest stays more open. Head, neck and face relax, so long relaxed neck, soft throat. So just work yourself into the most comfortable position for you. If you want a cushion for the head, take a cushion for the head. If you're feeling it in the back or the knees, put cushions or blocks under the knees. And when you've found your comfortable position, eyes lightly closed. Going to relax the breathing, but try to stay focused on the breathing. And for the last few minutes, try and connect with your body, your breathing, and the simple joy of just being. Relax, relax, relax. And now just make your inhalations a little bit deeper and your exhalations a little bit longer. When you're ready, you can slowly bend the legs one by one. Lift the feet and hug the knees into the chest. Before you roll across to one side, and then slowly push yourself up into a comfortable crossed leg sitting position. If you cannot sit comfortably on the mat, if you feel you're getting squashed, knees, groins or whatever, try it on a block or a cushion. Get a little bit of height under the hips if you feel you need a bit of height. So find your neutral pelvis, whatever that is for you, sitting up comfortably straight. And uplift the energy to wake us up and to continue going within is what yoga is about. We're going to chant the mantra Om, A-U-M, one time loudly together. So please bring the hands into Namaste position, keeping the neck and the shoulders relaxed. I'm going to empty the lungs first, simply by breathing in and out, and then we chant together. So eyes lightly closed, sitting up comfortably straight. Take a good deep in breath now, and a long full out breath. Now a good deep in breath, and we chant together. Your eyes still closed, please bow your head and look within just to see if you can feel the effects of that yoga class on both your body and your mind. Feel what's happened both physically and mentally. And namaste.